I've got the floorboards here on the cabin of the airplane drilled, and I put nut zerts in the tabs on that, stainless steel nut zerts, and I drilled them oversized for the nut zerts, and then put some Rust-Oleum on them to cover up the raw edges. Put stainless steel nut zerts in there, and then they're number 8 screws with Tinnerman washer. Didn't put screws in the front up there because those have brackets underneath them for the rudder pedals. I got the holes located, and there's I didn't need to countersink those. I just kind of deburred them a little bit, the plywood, and because they have plates that go over the top of them. Well, I still have to locate the relief for the aileron cable where it comes out there. Got the templates made out for the panels for the forward part, the baggage compartment behind the seat, and the rest of the forward part of the airplane, except for up front underneath the boot cowl. The templates are laid out, so all I got to do is cut out the pieces. I got a piece there. Got it set now to wrap around that front seat bar. There's one sheet of the Kydex laid out on the table, and I have my template for the left panel laid out on there, and I marked it with a white marker. So I take the template off, and that leaves the piece to be cut out. Well, I got that piece cut out, and it cut just fine with regular sheet metal shears. Cut real smooth, doesn't leave any of the dimples and divots in it that cutting aluminum or steel does with it, even when you're careful. Cut the line fairly close, but I still had a little bit of ins and outs on it. I wanted to see what it would take to smooth it up, and this riffling file works really good. It takes it down pretty fast, and just like it does on aluminum. And then a regular mill bastard file will smooth it up, take the burrs off and smooth it up real good. It's softer, of course, than aluminum, but works the same way so far. So like where this radius goes here, I'll take the drill and drill that out and then cut it out, and then I can just true it up with the file. Same with this one down here where it goes across the cross member there up the seat. I went and got a couple of sheets of MDF, medium density fiberboard, to use to make a pattern, and that's 3/4 inch plywood or 3/4 inch MDF. So if I double it up, if I put two pieces together, it'll make it 1.5 inches, which will be what that bend, the edge on that, the angle on that needs to be. And so these pieces of MDF are 49 1/8 inch wide. So I went ahead to make this, to cut it in half. So I made a center line here at 24 1/2, and so it winds up, 24 1/2. And so the waist side of it will be off on the right side here as we're looking at it. And so I made the marks on there. I got a piece of masking tape and run on it, hopefully to help keep it from tearing up the cut line. And then I got a plywood blade that I stuck in there, 140 tooth plywood blade, and I set the depth of cut down, so it's just about 1 inch, 1.25 inch depth of cut. So that should give the tooth presentation at a little better angle, so it's not quite such an up angle, so maybe it won't tear out. And then I took this piece of aluminum channel and clamped it on here, and channel is a piece I got to use with the Hardin lumber maker chainsaw attachment for making boards. I used it for edging boards when I cut them off, the flitches when I cut them off with the chainsaw mill, and I also used it to mill up a lot of the smaller trees and stuff that we have around here, the smaller hemlock and stuff, into timbers. So I found that worked a lot better than using a 2x6 or a 2x4. So anyway, that's set up there, and so we'll go ahead and make a cut here and try to get 2 equal halves to set up and hold together for a pattern. I got the cut made, and it went pretty good once I got going. Had to start it over because once I put the saw on there, see, that's a nice sharp edge on there, nice square cut, nice sharp edge. So once I put the saw on there, it didn't look right, and so I started measuring, and it wasn't right. The blade was farther away from the fence than it should have been. So I got to looking, and what I did is I set my fence up 1 3/16 inches away from the cut line instead of 1 5/16 inches. So I reset it, and then it cut perfect right down my line, right up until I got to the end, and then it wandered a little bit here at the end. And well, it cut pretty hard. This MDF is noted for being hard on cutting tools, and that was just a steel plywood blade with the fine teeth on it. But what happened here is I had this sheet set up off the sheet underneath it, and the sawhorses with some 2x4s, and I had the 2x4s set angled underneath it so that it was supported on, so it wouldn't tip or anything. Well, this end, one of the 2x4s, you can see, got underneath the cut line, and it's yellow cedar 2x4, and yellow cedar is terrible about making straight lines in. It pulls the blade, and it'll bend the blade and pull it and do all kinds of crappy things with it. It's almost impossible to make a straight line in yellow cedar. So anyway, that's what happened there. Got a little bit of a off on this. It just pulled a little bit into the good side, but basically it's a pretty nice cut. Took the 2 halves of the MDF and flipped them over so the factory edges were on this face here. They should be a nice smooth edge, straight edge, whereas even though I got this edge over here pretty nice, it's still a chance that it's got a little bit of waves and stuff in it. I don't know how much that plastic is going to transfer from what the piece that you mold on it is, but anyway, I didn't want to take a chance on it, so use this nice straight factory edge. I took a 1/4 inch round over bit and knocked off the edge of that, rounded it over, and then I took the belt sander and went down and where both edges made up and just made sure there was no differences there between the 2 edges. They're nice and smooth. And then there was a little bit of a ridge here. I got that bit just a touch deep, so there was just a little mark right here. So I took the palm sander and sanded that down, and then went ahead and just went over the whole face of this. Now, the part of the Kydex that goes on this part is not going to get hot, so it shouldn't get any transfer at all on it, but I went over it with the palm sander just to make sure there was nothing there that was going to transfer into the Kydex. So got nice smooth edges there. I just thought I'd practice a bend here with some of the scrap that I got. I got a 2x6 clamp down there onto my template, and that's a piece of scrap Kydex there, and that went over pretty easy. Just took a minute. I'll hold it down here now as it cools off. You even brought welding gloves and everything else, figuring to be a big production. It will be on that longer piece, of course. This is just a small piece, so it didn't take very long to heat up, but I got the textured side up, and it's pretty much cooled off. Of course, it's a small piece, the 2x6 to help keep the heat from. Oh yeah, that makes a nice little bend. I practiced that a few times and get the practiced up, but that worked pretty good. Huh? I want my bend to be 1.5 inches. I want an 1.5 inch lip over that, so it can be more. I can always cut it off, but it can't be much because I've already got that thing cut. So I'll and make a line. All right. Oh, I'll see. So that needs to make that bend 1.5 inches. We'll see what how much I need on that radius. I don't want to do the math on it, so we'll do it by trial and error, and then that way it'll be right, where the math always winds up wrong. Whoops, that's really warm. Alright, so okay, that makes it so that's stuck out a little bit, and that makes it just a little bit long. There's just about. Okay, I got this piece pretty much roughed out, and I did it pretty much the same way I would do aluminum. I cut along these lines with sheet metal shears. I was able to get on the lines pretty good, and it doesn't make any dimples like it does on the sheet metal shears, so it's a nice cut. Of course, there's a little bit of roughness on the cut edges, so I trued those up with a combination of a riffling file and a mill bastard file, and then I cut out these cutouts here the same way I do in the aluminum. I used a rotobroach tool to make holes, a large one on this big one and in here, and small one in these corners. And it doesn't need center hole or center tap punched on it. It spins the center guide into the plastic and makes its own kind of center. So that's not too big of a deal there, but it does grab pretty good. It grabs into this plastic pretty good, but it cuts a pretty clean hole. And then I cut it out with the sheet metal shears, the aviation snips, around the holes, and then finished it out with a combination of a half round file, a couple different half round files, and I used I don't know what. This one here is pretty rough. This one is a finer one, but it's filled up with aluminum, and it's not very sharp anymore. This one is pretty rough, but that's the one I used for the curves here to rough them out, and then this little one to finish them out. And it's a real fine file. It's pretty much wore out, but it works fine on the aluminum and the plastic. And I used a chainsaw file in the tight corners, and then my mill bastard file on the straight stretches to file that out. The riffling file takes too big of a bite in here for these small areas. So, and then to deburr it with the files. Deburring it works fine with the files. It's a little tougher than aluminum because this stuff is it's pretty sticky. It doesn't want to, makes lots of fine shavings on it, and they don't want to come loose from the edges very well. So it takes a little bit of work to get them all off, but it does make a nice smooth edge when you're done. So I've got these lines on here that I made. I was using this Galaxy marker. It says it's a paint-like ink for dark and light paper, and it shows up good against that black. But I wanted to get rid of the old lines on there, and So I took some paint thinner and rubbed that panel down, and it cleaned the panel up pretty good, but it didn't do anything with the lines. So I took this scratch piece here, this cutoff, and I put some lacquer thinner on a rag and I wiped it down, and that took the mark off of it, and doesn't seem to have affected the plastic any, but I'm going to go ahead and let it dry out for a little while to make sure there's no ill effects on it. But so far it looks like it's working okay. So the lacquer thinner took the paint marks off, takes some scrubbing, and gets down into this texture of this panel, but it does take the paint off, that ink pen off. It does kind of spread it out all over the thing, so you got to rub it down 2 or 3 times to get it clean. But it works and doesn't seem to have any ill effects on the plastic at all. Just for grins and giggles, I decided to try acryliclean to see if it would work. That's what I used to clean everything up with before painting and powder coating and stuff, because lacquer thinner kind of leaves a residue behind, and powder coating doesn't work very well with parts with lacquer thinner left on them or cleaned with lacquer thinner. But it wouldn't touch the ink either, and I kind of didn't think it would, because it wouldn't touch just a permanent marker, fine line marker, what do they call these things, Sharpies. It wouldn't touch the ink on those either, on the aluminum. I got that white marker to use on some of the black stuff, but I also got this gold Sharpie, and I tried it out, and it's not a fine line, it's a regular Sharpie, but it makes a nice line that stands out real well on that black. Problem is, when you go to clean it up, it just smears all over, and the same as the white does, but it really stands out. So it takes a lot of scrubbing to get it clean too. Well, I don't think it's any different than the white marker as far as that goes, but it does discolor it a little bit from the gold left behind, so you have to scrub it pretty good to get it off there too. So that's best thing to do would be to work on that from behind and put all the marks on there on the back side. It's fine. I'm plenty warm enough. Okay, the tendency, if you don't get this hot enough, you start to bend it when it's bending, but you don't let it get hot enough, then it gets a lot of spring in it. If you let it get hot enough, and then it'll stay bent, and it bends a lot better. But there's kind of a line there between getting it hot enough and getting it too hot. You can just almost see the stuff just turning just a little bit shiny when it gets to the almost too hot. But I tried holding that down with a formed piece of Kydex to the shape, but that Kydex just got hot and just relaxed back to normal. Didn't quite get completely straight, but it came close. So that didn't work as well as what I'd hoped. And holding a piece of wood up against it, you don't really have enough control over it with the wood. I thought the wood would hold pressure against it and pull some of the heat out faster, but it doesn't. It kind of holds the heat in the Kydex much longer, so it doesn't cool off as quick. Well, we'll see how that works. Now you can bend this stuff by hand a little bit after the fact. Once it's, it'll take a bend, so like that. So we can bend it some more after if we need to. So this is the point of the window post where the angle starts changing on the frame, so it starts going up here. We'll see what it looks like here in a second. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. That'll work pretty. Okay, that looks pretty good. Fits pretty good. Fits around that cross brace there, and when I make that piece that goes across there in the front of that seat, that'll finish that in pretty good. So you need a little trimming around the floorboards there, which you knew it was going to do that. I left that long on purpose. Same here, and of course back here I don't have the floorboards in, so that's going to need quite a bit of trimming on it, but fits on that window. Got a nice curve on there. A little bit of trimming material off from this, the front part of this window, maybe halfway up or so, so this fares in a little better towards the front here, but so yeah, that looks pretty good. Pretty darn nice. There it is. Yeah, need a little trim around this back seat post, this cross post, and plenty of clearance for the cables there, and so I can make the marks where to make this bend back here, and yeah, I like that. You trim off a little around this window. I got that all marked off, and I trimmed up this excess here. And now I've got it marked here for this line from where it starts to transition here from the door post back, and there's going to be two transitions here, and so I'll make this first bend here from the door or the window post back to the seat bar, and then I'll have to change it up and make it from the back of the seat bar back to the back of the baggage compartment, or the back of the forward baggage compartment. A little bit of a lump there where that cutout was for that rear baggage compartment, or that door window, and didn't get quite. Gotta be careful not to get it hot in front of that, or to raise up there. Don't want to get it too hot either, it'll blaze. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, I'll change this. Should be cooled off a little bit. Need one of those ceramic finger protector things that Jody at Welding Tips and Tricks sells. The thumb is the best thing to push that down with, but it gets awful damn hot. Well, I'm going to try that and see how it works. It's still a little ripply right through there. Needs a little work on that. I'll go try it in the airplane. Okay, I'm really liking that. That is really nice. Need a little more forming, hand forming on that. That may be cut out up there for the throttle. I don't know. Get a little bit of relief around that windshield post there, and a little bit around this rear window post, but it's looking pretty darn good. I really like that. All one piece. It might be just a little tight there on that post, and of course you still have to trim around the bottom, but yeah, it might be a little trim, just a little bit off of this right there. This is where the front throttle goes, is right here, and see, this back part here doesn't need to be bent over at all, because this rear paneling will come down over that, and it screws into this panel right here, but it finishes it off nice and clean, and it's good. It might want to trim. I don't know. You want to trim just a little bit off of that to square it up where it goes on that window, along that window there, and a little bit around this window post. But otherwise, she's looking mighty fine. This left-hand panel is done. Well, it's not done yet, but it's pretty much fitted in there. There's still a little bit to do on it. It's still got a cutout for the trim and the fuel selector and the flap rod, but it's pretty much fitted in there. It's fitted in on the floor now, and put the back baggage compartment floor in and cut it so it fits over that, and so it's in there pretty nice. It's pretty good. Pretty much done. Pretty much in there. Maybe a little trim work left to do on it here and there, but mostly it's all fitted in, and it looks nice. Nice one solid piece. Kydex. It'll be easy to clean. Should be quiet. So that piece is in. Now we'll work on the right side here, and it'll be a little easier because there's there'll be two individual pieces there for the back seat and back into the baggage compartment, and then here underneath the door those are two separate pieces, and they're just straight cutouts. There's no I could put a bend on that one in the baggage compartment there in the back seat, but there's not any reason to, because the side panels will come down there and cover that, but that would trim it out a little bit, I guess.